Morant with a running start. Elevate! Oh, it dunks! Oh, my goodness!
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn his heat. It's gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! John Morant! Insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. The Grizzlies lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder on Thursday night. They were outscored 28-3 in a crucial 5-minute stretch in the fourth quarter. This is after a Jaren Jackson Jr. three-pointer had given them a 2-point lead, and now they drop yet another road game against a good Western Conference team. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about this loss. Before I do, just a reminder to everybody who lives in the Middle Tennessee area that our final regular season watch party this year is going to be on Tuesday, April 1st, Tuesday for the Grizzlies-Warriors game. Come on down to Noble's Beer Hall for a Grizzlies watch party. I will be there giving away Grizzlies prizes. It'll be a fun time to hang out with fellow Grizzlies fans. By the way, last episode, I said the final watch party of the season, the final regular season watch party of the season. We will be hosting, of course, watch parties throughout the postseason. Hopefully, it's a long postseason run. But honestly, right now, I think coming off this Thunder loss, off this 1-4 road trip, and still with questions about Ja Morant, maybe not a ton of optimism that the Grizzlies are going to have a long postseason run. But anyways, the Grizzlies fought hard against the Thunder. Of course, the Grizzlies do not have Ja Morant. He missed the entire road trip. Also, no Gigi Jackson missed the entire road trip because he's assigned to the hustle. I didn't mean to start with this, but I feel like I should have at least highlighted the fact that like Gigi wasn't allowed to come on the road trip. This feels to me, I'm not inferring anything, but it seems like this is like a high school punishment where you're not allowed to go on the field trip. The team has a 5-game road trip, and they're like, Gigi, you get to stay at home. Go play for the hustle. But anyways, no Ja Morant. That's obviously way more important. So they're shorthanded once again. They started the same starting lineup these are the last couple of games. Scotty Pippen Jr., Desmond Bane, Jalen Wells, Santi Aldama, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Santi, I think probably permanently now, is replacing Zach Edey in the starting lineup. Enough was enough. This is likely, I'm guessing, especially now that Brandon Clark is out for the year, that's going to be your starting and closing front court. You maybe weren't going to start Zach Edey in the playoffs, so they went ahead and made that change. And this, again, competitive game for the first 41 minutes. Like the first quarter was, I think, really fun. It was notable. First quarter was notable because Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane combined to score 0 points. And yet, it was close. Scotty Pippen Jr. had 12 points in that opening frame. The team made 11 out of 11 free throws, which is a lot of free throws for a first quarter. It tied their season high for free throws in a first quarter. But despite Jaren and Desmond not scoring, the Grizzlies actually led by 1 heading into the second quarter. Now, the second quarter kicked off with the Grizzlies having consecutive turnovers, which, of course, is going to be a problem for the Grizzlies as a high turnover team and playing one of the best, if not the best, turnover forcing team. There was a lull to start the second quarter, but the Grizzlies bounced back, maybe highlighted by a Jaren Jackson Jr. to Zach Edey big-to-big alley-oop. That put the Grizzlies up 44-41. At halftime, the Grizzlies found themselves down by 4. And I was talking in my Patreon supporter Slack channel, someone asking, like, what's the summary of the game? And I said, well, I mean, this is a compliment. In the first half, Scotty Pippen Jr. was our best player. but also that could maybe be a criticism. Jaren Jackson Jr. was not particularly good in the first half. He had 9 points on 3 out of 9 shooting. Desmond Bane no-showed. Desmond Bane did not score in the first half, was 0 for 5 from the field. He did have 5 assists, but had 0 points. So Scotty had a great first half. In just the first half, Scotty had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Also, unfortunately, he had 4 turnovers. Now, the second half starts perhaps like many of us feared it could. The Thunder put the clamps on the Grizzlies. The Thunder scored the first 10 points of the second half. They actually scored the final 7 points of the first half, meaning the Thunder had a 17-0 run from the end of the first half to the start of the second half. This run maybe is not going to be the worst run of the game, but the Thunder seemingly take control of the game. Scotty Pippen Jr. has another turnover. Amazing game from Scotty. I'll get into that in a second, but he did turn the basketball over a lot. After a Lou Dort steal, Isaiah Hartenstein gets a breakaway, fast break, bucket, and it feels like the Thunder are now going to pull away. They're up by 14, but the Grizzlies fight. The Grizzlies get back into the game and actually close the third quarter. There's a 10-2 run that ends up tying the game right before the end of the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, it's an exciting back and forth affair for about 4 minutes. Jaren makes that three-pointer to put the Grizzlies up 99-97. And then the Thunder completely turn the water off. The Grizzlies, over the next 5.5 minutes, until they eventually clear the bench with 2 minutes left because the game's over, the Grizzlies make one shot. Their only scoring possession from 7 minutes and 41 seconds left in the game until they clear the bench with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. It's a pull-up Jaren Jackson Jr. three-pointer. They get outscored 28-3 over this span. The only person to score again, the only person to score in the fourth quarter, 3 people scored. The Grizzlies scored 15 points in the fourth quarter total. Jaren had 10 points. Jay Huff hit a 3 early in the fourth quarter. Lamar Stevens made a bucket in the final 2 minutes in garbage time. Those are the only 3 players who scored. Jaren scored 10. Jay Huff scored 3. Lamar Stevens scored 2. Jaren's your only player who's scoring, and then exacerbating the problem. Of course, I think we all noticed. Jaren gets subbed out. The Thunder have a 7-0 run to erase the Grizzlies' 2-point lead. They're now up 104-99 with 6 minutes left, and Jaren goes to the bench. And the Thunder outscored the Grizzlies 8-0 in less than 2 minutes with Jaren on the bench. By the time Jaren checks back in, okay, now that's a 15-0 run, and it's essentially over. By the time Jaren gets back in the basketball game, you were saving Jaren for crunch time. Crunch time never came because you benched him early. The Thunder still outscored the Grizzlies by 7 more points over the final couple minutes that Jaren played. Again, making that entire run 28-3. Again, the Grizzlies, they got a bucket from Lamar Stevens in garbage time, meaning over the final 7 minutes and 40 seconds, the Grizzlies scored 5 points. They were outscored 28-3. The decision to bench Jaren, obviously going to be controversial. Now, it's clear, I think, why Jaren was benched at that point. It's because he played something like 10 straight minutes. He played the final 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the third quarter. He opened the fourth quarter, played 6 straight minutes. Now, did you need to sub him out? I don't know. Was he exhausted? Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think many other coaches would have subbed him out at this point. Jaren only finished the game playing 31 minutes. If you had left Jaren in the game and he didn't have to get benched for the final 2 minutes because the game was a blowout, that means he would have played 5 more minutes. That means he would have finished with 35 minutes of playing time. Maybe 36 minutes of playing time. Can Jaren play the final 16 minutes of the basketball game? You would think so. I don't know if the Grizzlies were going to win. What good teams do, what great teams do, is they put you away when it matters. That's the pattern of NBA basketball. The Grizzlies played hard. They played mostly well, despite Desmond Bane having a terrible shooting night, despite some turnover issues that led to 29 points off of turnovers for the Thunder. But the decision to take Jaren out, the game was over. You're saving Jaren for crunch time that never shows up. This is similar to my issue with the way they treat foul trouble. Like, maybe the game will be close by the time Jaren gets back in, but you're losing right now. The Thunder are on a run right now. You're down by 5. Are you really going to survive with Jaren on the bench? The answer was absolutely no. But beyond that, beyond the benching of Jaren, I think the bigger, larger scale issue is your offense abandoning you when you play good teams. I don't have the numbers pulled up. This is 1-12 now on the road against the top 9 in the Western Conference. The only win is against the Timberwolves. And of course, there's no Ja Morant, and maybe all of our Grizzlies analysis is useless unless Ja Morant plays. Still the hamstring strain. The Grizzlies, of course, return home for this huge 3-game homestand. Celtics, Lakers, Warriors. We'll probably get some more information about the injury at that point. But with no Ja, and you got Desmond struggling, benching Jaren when the game hangs in the balance, and this has been a thing they've done all season. The way they have structured the rotation and the playing time, and the way they limit the Grizzlies players' minutes, trying to keep them fresh. But like, we're on the home stretch. The playoffs start in 3 weeks. Are we not ramping up? Is there no ramp up period for the postseason where hopefully Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to play 40 minutes in every ball game? But Jaren plays 31 minutes in this game. The Grizzlies get blown out despite, being ahead in the fourth quarter. They lost by 21. So not ideal. But the bright spot of this game, Jaren had a huge second half. Jaren finished the game with 27 points. Jaren made 5 out of 7 3-pointers. He did only grab 2 rebounds. The Thunder out-rebounded the Grizzlies. The Thunder are not a good rebounding team. But Scotty Pippen Jr. had a great game. Despite finishing with 7 turnovers, Scotty Pippen had his second straight double-double. This time it was a points and rebounds double-double. He had 17 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 steals. This game could have been, maybe was, as good as his great game against the Jazz, where he had 16 points, 10 assists, was 7 for 8 from the field, and had 0 turnovers. Pippen was 5 for 10 from the field in this one, made 3 out of 5 3-pointers. I feel like Scotty Pippen Jr. is really leveling up. In his last 5 games, he's averaging 15 points per game, shooting 54% from the field. He's 10 out of 17 on 3-pointers in that span. He's averaging 7.4 assists and 2.2 steals. In the last 3 games that he started, he's averaging 16 points, 7 assists, and 2.3 steals. He's shot 67% from the field in those 3 games. This stat line he put up against the Thunder, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 steals. He's the only player in Grizzlies franchise history to hit all those marks in a game. He's just the 4th player in the NBA this season to hit all those marks in a game. The other 3 are all-stars: Cade Cunningham, Bam Adebayo, and Scotty Barnes. Playing probably the toughest opposition you can play, Scotty was scintillating. Really strong game from Scotty, but he did struggle with turnovers like everyone else on the Grizzlies kind of struggled with turnovers. Like Desmond Bane, 1 for 12 from the field. The shot just did not fall for Desmond in this one, and you expect Desmond to help you out in these games. Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard played 27 minutes. You expect a lot from Luke. Luke had 5 turnovers. only 1 assist. Luke only got up 4 shots. Luke passed up a shot at the end of the third quarter to save his field goal percentage. I hate this behavior. Sacrifice a little and try to win the basketball game. Santi Aldama in the start did not have his best offensive game. Only 1 for 6 from the three-point line. Had 10 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. Jalen Wells got to the line a lot in this one. He had a good scoring game with 13 points, also 5 rebounds. Jay Huff had 8 points. Jay Huff has passed Zach Edey, it feels like, in priority among your bigs. Now, I don't think we have to relitigate the Zach Edey draft discussion again, but like centers are pretty easy to find, and you have a guy who was on a 2-way that you signed after Summer League who's now past your top 10 pick in your rotation. I mean, Jay Huff provides that spacing, also provides some rim protection, so that's why they have gone with him. A little bit more versatility. Edey played 17 minutes, made both of his shots, also got to the foul line. I mean, the Grizzlies shot 22 for 23 from the foul line. That's excellent. But you still lost by 21. So, unfortunate there. Vince Williams Jr., I thought, played well. I mean, maybe if he misses all 4 of his three-pointers instead of only missing 3 out of 4 of his three-pointers, we feel a little bit differently, but I feel like Vince is trending in the right way. Maybe that's just hopeful thinking. Fingers crossed he keeps looking a little bit better in these games. Had a couple of nice drives. Thought his defense was good enough. Activity level was strong, despite the fact that he ended up with 0 rebounds. He had 7 points and 3 assists. And now the Grizzlies, based on the results of Thursday night, they sit 5th. They have the same record as the Lakers. The Lakers lost an all-time game on Thursday night. They blew the end of the game in the most spectacular fashion you could imagine. The Bulls had back-to-back three-pointers in the final seconds to take a 1-point lead. Then the Lakers hit a go-ahead shot by Austin Reeves. Then Josh Giddey hits, I think, the 7th longest game-winning buzzer beater in NBA history. Behind half court, Josh Giddey hits the three-pointer. JJ Redick described the loss as devastating. But because of that, the Lakers are 44-29, which is the same record as the Grizzlies. The Clippers now 2.5 games behind both of these teams. Luckily, the Warriors lost again a couple nights ago, so the Warriors are 2.5 games also behind the Grizzlies and the Lakers. The Lakers and Grizzlies, of course, play this coming week, and that's a huge game, of course. Then you play the Warriors again on Tuesday. That's a watch party in Nashville at Noble's Beer Hall, Tuesday, April 1st. So the Grizzlies are still fighting to make sure they don't end up in the play-in. But honestly, I mean, the Grizzlies' schedule is hard, but if they go on a run, they could get back up to 3rd. They're still just 1.5 games behind the Nuggets, and of course, they still have a game against the Nuggets. So maybe Ja Morant can come back. Maybe you get the results you need. I mean, maybe the teams you're playing have nothing to play for and rest their important guys. But it's going to be a tight finish for the Grizzlies over these final 9 games. We will see what happens. And, of course, I will podcast about it. Anyways, thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode. If you want to support this program, you can do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. If you join for $5 a month, you can join the listener Slack channel. A lot of good Grizzlies talk going on in there. Anyways, hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.